So I want to talk about some not too hidden obstacles in the ceasefire in Gaza, stopping the genocide there. Trump and Putin. And of course, Netanyahu's the main obstacle. But I want to talk about how Trump and Putin figure in. And just for a little bit of context, when Ronald Reagan was running against Jimmy Carter, there were Iranian hostages, Americans taken hostage in Iran, I think about 70. And Reagan paid the Iranian government to keep the hostages longer. Even though Carter worked out the negotiations, Reagan paid him to keep the hostages for a number of months after that. Now you can imagine how this relates to Trump and Putin and Netanyahu. Of course, Netanyahu doesn't want the war to end at all. He wants to start more wars because he will lose power and leave power when the war ends. That's what Putin wants. Netanyahu to stay in power and keep that genocide going to distract from his genocide in Ukraine. And of course, what Trump wants is what Putin wants and is part of that whole plan. I feel like they're all completely coordinated. But of course, Trump has proved himself to be completely Putin's puppy. And since we haven't put Putin's puppy in the pound yet, we've got to call it out what they're doing. And that, of course, he would continue the genocide, or increase the genocide if he became president. But of course, he would continue it. If anything, Netanyahu's been holding back somewhat in hopes of Trump taking over for him to finish it off then. And so the only restraint has been that, and hopefully they can add the restraint of trying to take it out of the political picture so that Kamala Harris can win in a much larger landslide, and we can end Trumpism forever. But of course, they don't want that, and they'll keep the hostages there, whatever influence they have over Hamas. They'll keep the hostages there, and their great influence they have over Netanyahu, and the fact that his own interest is to keep the war going. They'll keep the hostages there, just like Reagan paid Iran to continue holding the hostages, to make Carter look bad. If you think about how much worse Bush was than Reagan and how much worse Trump was than Bush, if they were doing that way back then, how much worse would they do now? So of course they'll continue the genocide if it helps them politically, just like it'll help Netanyahu politically. And it's the type of thing they would do. Trump not only makes, the turnout worse if there's still a genocide going on, but it's just everything's in their favor to do it that way. So of course we have to blame Trump and Putin for being the misinformation master behind everything Trump does. We have to blame Trump and Putin for all the criticism against Kamala, as if Trump would somehow be better. He would be a much worse genocide and no chance to stop the genocide. Whereas Kamala, especially if you have a large enough base of support for her, we can definitely mobilize enough of our voices to force the genocide if they haven't already done it. The problem being, put it in context, when they had a super racist immigration or border policy, Trump killed it. Like, it was racist enough for to satisfy what the Republicans' demands were for the border, but Trump made sure they wouldn't have it in order to not give Biden a win. So of course they're going to do everything they can do to keep there from being a ceasefire, to keep Biden from getting a win, or to keep Kamala's win from being even bigger. So we should look at all things that are supporting Netanyahu and the genocide as being Trump originated, and the ones on the other side, on the Democrat side, that are still enabling and helping it are also helping Trump and Putin, and we should call it out like that to help stop it faster. Thank you.